All right, what a spectacular show we have for you today. My name is Adam and Marf, and this is Marfoogle News. We'll be right back. All right, just a reminder, nothing in this show should be considered legal, medical, or financial advice. The views of the callers can differ considerably and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of myself, Dex, or anyone else on the show. This is a live call-in show, so remember, anything can happen. Again, make sure that you know that the internet is full of fake news, so please take everything with a grain of salt. With that being said, we back up everything we say here with a bibliography of sorts. In fact, if you go to our website, you can follow along on a tablet or a secondary device, and you can actually read all of the articles on your own time. You can go back retrospectively, look at everything that we have put here. You can look at the source. In fact, when you go to marfooglenews.com, it's very easy to navigate. You just look for today's thumbnail. It's not a movie, it's our future. And then when you see that thumbnail, you will just click it and you'll see that everything is there for you. We take the time before every show. There's not a lot of live channels that do this for every single show. Now, remember, you can go over to these, you can actually read along, and then, of course, at the very end, the callers will also be at the very bottom. If you want to support us in any way, all of our affiliates, including NordVPN, which brings you today's show, EMP Shield, PayPal, all of that stuff is over there. If you want to use our Amazon link, if you are still using Amazon, of course, you might as well do that. It doesn't cost you anything extra, and it helps us here at the show. All right, we are going to bring in Dex. Dex is my co-host / internet brother. He'll also be on the phones at 224-400 Marf. What is going on, Dex, and how are you doing?
Well, hello, Adam, and hello, Foogle fam. I'm doing pretty good. Glad to be back.
I don't know why I almost said Dan. I just Dan. What's going on, Dan? Anyways, I like Dan better.
I'm doing good, Larry.
Hey, whoa, you went there. Okay. All right, I'm going to continue. Anyways, remember, you can get our notifications. A lot of people say, oh, well, the YouTube notification was 15 minutes ago. Remember, you can go to Twitter for the at-the-second notification. In fact, I put it out right at 7:30. Remember that YouTube, for live creators like myself, we have to set up this whole thing, and now it's way different. They've made it a little bit harder to just spontaneously go live. But if you go and sign up for these notifications, that's all instant. All right, let's get right into the news. We're going to be getting to the calls in just a bit. So remember, if you do want to call in, you do have to press option 4 at 224-400 Marf. I'll be saying hi to everybody in chat in just a minute, but first, let's get straight into it. China said to speed up move to more survivable nuclear force. Okay, it says China appears to be moving faster toward a capability to launch its newer nuclear missiles from underground silos, possibly to improve its ability to respond promptly to a nuclear attack, according to an American expert who analyzed satellite images of a recent construction at a missile training area. It says Hans Christensen, a longtime watcher of the U.S., Russian, and Chinese nuclear forces, said that the imagery suggests that China is seeking to counter what it may view as a growing threat from the United States. Now, one statement that I have said is, I believe from everything and all pieces of information that we've covered here, including all of the authoritative sources that we have, including international news, is that the world sees the U.S. kind of in this spot where China is now overtaking us in size, not by population. They've had that for a long time at 1.4 plus billion people. But we're talking about military. They have actually surpassed us in Navy size. In fact, China is now the largest Navy in the world, and that is a new thing. That is not something that's been around for a decade. This has been around for a couple years, if that. All of a sudden, the task force that talked to Congress about the growing threat that they said that China was, and that was according to them, basically said that they are now over 80 ships bigger than our Navy. So they are the largest Navy in the world, which is crazy when most people in the United States and even around the world think of the U.S. as the strongest, biggest of everything militarily. We are no longer that. Now, people can argue about, oh, well, we have more carriers and more subs and they have more this or that. That's fine. But the point is they're mass producing ships, they're mass producing tanks, they're mass producing aircraft at a rate we've never seen before. And this is just the last 3 years. People could say, oh, it's because of the previous this or previous that. I don't think so. This is a long game. People go, well, why hasn't this happened yet? Because this is a long game. In fact, it is such a long game that it takes years and years, if not decades, to plan something like, I don't know, a takeover or a defense from a takeover. Now, if you were the U.S., just think of the U.S. and China as two people, and all of a sudden, China is Steve and U.S. is Bob, and they're competing, and they've both got, say, a video game store. Well, Steve just basically added an entire Costco-sized building to the side of his business, and he's got every game imaginable. But it's just the buildings of it. So it's an empty shell, and he knows it's about to go there. Bob might, try to take out Steve before that goes in because his business is fried if that whole wing is completed. So, of course, this is a hypothetical, but what do you think that the U.S. might do to take out China before they get that big? Do you think it is that important? Do you think that the U.S. may be threatened just a little bit? Now, a lot of people have the old school, old-fashioned way of thinking that, they can't build this, and they build low-quality this, and they're just copycats and all of this. But I've always asked the question, so if you have one F-22 Raptor or whatever kind of jet, with the most advanced technology in the world, and it's against 10 of theirs that they mass produced using their stolen blueprints from us with probably the same exact materials, reverse engineered, whatever. Do you think that one jet can take out 10? There is something to be said about sheer numbers. Just a couple of years ago, China was grabbing pilots out of everywhere. They were recruiting from the street. They were recruiting everywhere. They said, we need pilots from commercial pilots. They were just grabbing people from different jobs and saying, hey, you're a pilot now. Why are they trying to do it so fast? Why are they growing their military force so fast? And if they do want to become number one, which they've said multiple times, Xi Jinping has said that it is the heavenly mandate, their heavenly order, for them to be the rulers of the planet. If they're going to get there, they've got to take number one spot. Now, if we or some of the people that are seeing this happen, if they were to stop them in their tracks, they would need to do it sooner than later. Would you not agree? If you agree, press 1. Would we need to take them out sooner? Or 2, we wouldn't have to take them out at all. It's not there yet. I personally think that there might be some invasion already happening. That's just my personal opinion. Of course, you can, of course, have yours as well. It says that the U.S. in recent years has pointed to China's nuclear modernization as a key justification for investing hundreds of billions of dollars in the coming 2 decades to build a all-new U.S. nuclear arsenal. So we're talking about a brand new nuclear arsenal. We're not talking about reducing these things. We're talking about, doubling, tripling, and modernizing. It says there's no indication that the United States and China are headed towards armed conflict, let alone a nuclear one, but the Christensen report comes at a time of heightened U.S.-China tensions across a broad spectrum. From trade to national security, a stronger Chinese nuclear force could factor into U.S. calculations for a military response to the aggressive Chinese actions, such as in Taiwan or in the South China Sea, where they have actually made military bases out of nowhere. And I mean nowhere. There was no islands before. They dredged up dirt from the bottom with special ships and created islands, then created aircraft runways, then they created bases and barracks. Then they created bays for their navy, which is now larger than ours. And of course, it's not an exact halfway point, but it is much closer to the U.S. than China. So if you think about what their limitations to an actual invasion of the U.S. were, those are starting to reduce. Not only that, control of the waterways. That is a main spectacle when you're looking at taking over anything, taking over the world. You would need to control all of the waterways and all of the trade routes. That's exactly what they're doing. Taiwan makes semiconductors, just like we had a caller just the other day. I believe it was Cheryl. I could be wrong. If I am, anybody can correct me in chat, and I'll give proper credit later. A caller said Taiwan is the only place where some of these the semiconductors are actually made. This is insane. Not only that, Taiwan is where the companies where Huawei had the rug ripped out from under them by the previous admin because they no longer could do business with Taiwan, or at least this company that makes the chips, the processors for all of the phones. Think about Huawei was on track to not only sell as many, they were selling as many or right about there with Apple and Android. So Samsung, you had Apple, and then you had Huawei. And Huawei at first was making these crappy phones with 100 megapixel camera, just gimmicky things. Then they started catching up. When they got the same processors, they started actually catching up, and I believe Apple and Samsung were worried. This was a big thing. Now, most of you probably, maybe you've never even heard of Huawei, but if you have been following the news over the last couple of years, Huawei had some weird connections. There was the arrest of one of their employees, the woman. We had the Chinese embassy, I believe, in one of our states actually raided. All sorts of weird stuff has gone on. But Huawei was a $1 trillion company. I don't even know how many billions they were making. And imagine this, you say to them and you say to Taiwan, you can't sell them the chips. You say to Facebook and Google and all these people, you say, oh, you can't give them any of your services. So Maps, Facebook, Google, anything basically an American company. Any American company, social media would not be allowed on their phones. They couldn't sell their phones with Maps or, Google. Gmail, all of these things that people use and take for granted in the States, those phones were just ripped of. Think about that. When you're talking about when you take a jab at their biggest moneymaker that, supplies the money to build all of these jets and things that they're doing, they got pissed off. Like really pissed off. That's why I believe Huawei is a bigger part than anybody realizes as far as everything that's going on. And I mean everything. I don't think people realize how much money we took away. Would you buy a phone with nothing on it? Basically some weird operating system, some weird stuff. Maybe you would. I don't know. But most people wouldn't. And that's exactly what happened. They were possibly even going to beat them in sales in some ways. They were on track to do so. And then boom, they disappeared. We can't sell them. So think about that. That is one thing that I have to say. Over the last few years, there's a lot of weird stuff. We've talked about even some of the weirder stuff, like the ghost cities in China and some of the weird connections with board members and things like that. Lots there. And then we have Air Force Base prepping for EMP vulnerability tests. It seems like it's almost every day that we're seeing this kind of action taken by our U.S. government. Now, if you're in other places in the world, just know we are actually seeing it around Europe as well. We're seeing it in Australia. All of a sudden, there's this whole brand new issue of EMP. It's like it came out of nowhere. Of course, experts have been warning for now years, if not decades, about the possibility of an EMP/solar flare. Some think that either way, even if an EMP doesn't happen, we are due for another Carrington-like event, which Carrington event was over 100 years ago, and it was so powerful that it sent telegraph machines on fire. Incredible. And that was, again, that was not even as much of a powerful thing as today's computers. So think about that. It says a cookie is a small piece of data. Let's see here.
Yeah, they messed up.
Yeah, no, I saw that. Thank you. But should we teach people about cookies? I mean, this is a great lesson. I'm totally kidding. Wow.
Only if it's the kind that can bake and eat.
Well, never mind. So the original, I'll go to the original here, which won't mess up. This is nextgov.com. And of course, this is out of Emerging Tech. It says Air Force Base prepping for EMP vulnerability tests. Now, hopefully we don't have any pop-ups. Oh, yeah, of course, continue to the site. It says, in a response to a T-Man executive order, which, if you remember, we covered that. That is right after DHS, Department of Homeland Security, sent out a notice to all, to the country, basically saying that every American citizen should have 6 months to a year of food and water on hand in case we have a full-on blackout. People are not listening to this. People also didn't listen when they said, there's a very good chance we'll have a, pandemic. Let's see what happened there. They have told us that that everyone should have 6 months to a year of food, because if they do knock out our grid, it's going to be bad. It's going to be the worst thing ever. They say up to 90% would perish in a power out situation. That's if we were not prepared and if everything wasn't protected. It says an Air Force base in Texas is getting ready to test its infrastructure against an electromagnetic pulse, or EMP. It says, and needs to do preliminary site surveys to design future tests. Officials at Joint Base San Antonio and Lackland, Texas, issued a request for a quote for an EMP-tailored survey of the petroleum, oil, and lubrication, or POL complex, which consists of multiple buildings in 2 areas of the base connected by the underground pipeline. So notice how what is involved here with of course, the natural gases, things like this. It says the Air Force is conducting this test and others in adherence with a T-Man era executive order requiring the military and key agencies involved in securing critical infrastructure to put more resources into defending against EMP attacks, in which an electromagnetic wave could potentially knock out all electronic components in its wake. Now, remember how dedicated and how dependent we are on all of this technology. If you're real and you've watched me for a long time, we all think about it. Everybody here thinks about this. I don't need to, I'm singing to the choir. Most people that are watching the show found me for one reason or the other and probably agree on this. Why is this not a higher priority as far as some of these people are concerned? Even if an attack doesn't happen, a Carrington event will. And we are such a reactive society and culture, and not only in the U.S., but around the world, nobody wants to write a check unless it's to fix what broke. It's like, if it's not broken, don't fix it. In this case, it needs to be fixed before it's broken. Because if it's broken, we're all goners. Do you agree or disagree? I'm going to go over to the chat for this one. Again, thank you, CDK, for being here. Mama of 6 here listening. Thank you. I really do appreciate it. Kelly2334, it's nice to see you as well. I really do appreciate you guys stopping by. And then Itzy, thank you for following. New folks, make sure to welcome them and let them know that they're awesomely welcome here. Nuclear War says, nothing. Thanks for the support. Rebel Yell. Christy Marie, thank you so much. Scooby-Doo Do Right, I appreciate you. Marfoogle News, the only news I use, says, I love Dachshunds. By the way, to your I love Chihuahuas, and now I'm forgetting the other one. I love Dachshunds. I love Chihuahuas. Yeah, I'll remember it, I'm sure. Multiple screen names with I love. So, anyways, let's get into it. Miss Samween, thank you so much. Again, I'm probably saying that wrong. Woman of Wonder, shout out to MRSA 1 and the Houston Foogle fam. Again, we used to have, if you don't know, we used to have state groups that were actually meeting anywhere from weekly to monthly, and they were talking about prep and getting ready for this stuff. That is an important thing for us, and we are going to get that back up. If you don't know what happened to that, please ask another Foogle family member that has been here for a long time. This is actually more than just a show. We are trying to help you guys realize that this is real stuff. And this is stuff that can be prevented if we are proactive and not reactive. And that's exactly what some people are doing. Texas is doing it. Again, the government agencies are protecting themselves. They are trying to protect their bases and everything else and their official buildings. We know this for a fact. Why are we not? It doesn't make too much sense. And then we have China appears to warn India, push too hard and the lights could go out. This is so random and weird because we just covered a story that said that India was joining, and they were pretty particular about how they said it. Russia and the I country ran to the store, and they said that they were joining their military drills. Well, all of those names are drilling with China. Of course, China and India have had this battle at the border for a long time, for decades, if not just forever, right? In fact, they just had one of the worst interactions in decades. In, I think, what was it? Dex, it might be 30, 40, 60 years, something like that. It was over 20 years. The worst interaction they had where 20 Indians, people from India, were perished, thrown off of cliffs because they were battling. And this is, of course, a contested border, which they have like a squiggly line drawn on it, and every single day it's redrawn because they don't have an actual border. They're both arguing over who has this area of the Himalayas. And then they say that they're joining that drill, which means, well, technically, doesn't that mean that they're allying themselves with China? Because China's allying themselves with this. So what is really going on here? Now China is telling India, push too hard and the lights could go out. Just to remind you, Mexico, 10 million without power randomly. Weird stuff going on there. We had Pakistan go out. We had Rome have major power outages. All these weird timed power outages. You, of course, had Venezuela. Huge power outage. And we're talking about, nationwide type of stuff.
And you just said it yourself. Something happened that they allied themselves, at least with those drills, right? But it makes the appearance that they're backing down. They're moving, their troops away. Everything's settled down. Is this what caused it? Was this threat, or did what we see happen around the world, was that China reaching out and showing everybody what they can do to them if they don't get in line?
I pretty much everybody that's here, a lot of you have been with me for a long time. We try to have fun at the same time, but the stuff that is coming from our military groups, frankly, would panic some people. And we're not here to panic people. We're here to prepare people, because I firmly believe that if people are prepared and think about this stuff before it happens, it should not be something you should be afraid of. You can't be afraid of walking out your door and getting hit by a car every day. Otherwise, you'd be somebody sitting inside your house in a bubble. You can't do that. And you really have to force yourself not to worry about these things. And maybe, and I've told you guys this before, if this kind of stuff doesn't make you feel good, I would highly advise you to take a look at yourself and say, maybe I shouldn't watch this show. Because sometimes people do take it to heart and they can't stop thinking about it. If you have anxiety or things like that, you have to make that choice. You should not be panicked about this kind of stuff, but it is a reality. Just like September of 2001 was, something that nobody expected, the next 2001 is coming. That's a fact. And experts, and of course the people threatening, say that it's going to make 2001 of September look like chicken feed. What could be bigger than, what could be, make that look like chicken feed? Well, judging by how the United States is preparing their own military, how other countries are preparing their own military, Australia's doing the same thing, Europe's doing the same thing, it's pretty simple. It says, early last summer, Chinese and Indian troops clashed in a surprise border battle in a remote Galwan Valley, bashing each other with rocks and clubs. It says 4 months later, and more than 1,500 miles away in Mumbai, rain shuts down and the stock market closed as the power went out in a city of 20 million people. That's giant. It says hospitals had to switch to emergency generators to keep ventilators running amid a CV, which was among India's worst. It says now a new study lends weight to the idea that those two events may be connected. So I think somebody here is going like, oh, that makes sense. We've been doing it for a long time, but now I think that too many people are pointing fingers and going, wait, this timing is really weird. This doesn't seem right. Now officials are saying, okay, yeah, we can't really deny that. Just to reiterate, in case, China had a clash, went boom, boom with them, and then 4 months later, RAIN shuts down and the stock market closed as the power went out in a city of 20 million people. And they're saying that these two are connected. So how would China be able to knock out power in India? Is that why India all of a sudden changed their tune? It says the study shows that as battles raged in the Himalayas, taking at least 24 lives, Chinese malware, this is digital, was flowing into the control systems that manage electric supply across India, along with the high voltage transmission substation and coal-fired power plant. So if they're willing to do that to them, do you think they would do it to any enemy? And would they do it to basically their biggest one, right? Their biggest foe that is standing between them and their heavenly mandate. It says the flow of malware was pieced together by Recorded Future, a Somerville, Massachusetts company that studies the use of internet by state actors. It found that most of the malware was never activated. And because Recorded Future could not get inside of India's power systems, it could not examine the details of the code itself, which was placed in strategic power distribution centers across the country. Well, it has notified India's power system it could not examine the details of the code itself. And it says, so far they are not reporting what they have found. Stuart Solomon, Recorded Future Chief's operating officer, said that the Chinese state-sponsored group, which the firm named Red Echo, quote, has been seen to systematically utilize advanced cyber intrusion techniques to quietly gain a foothold in nearly a dozen critical nodes across the Indian power generation and transmission infrastructure. That's kind of a big deal, Dex, that this is all coming out. Because if we can understand that this is happening elsewhere, we can also understand why do we have so much of that country ingrained in our country? How do we have so much? I mean, did you know that what percentage of our surveillance systems are actually from a Chinese company? And what percentage of those systems are now internet and wireless with a proprietary software that, of course, is designed, owned by companies that are connected with their government? So think about that. They would have a backdoor on most of our surveillance around the country.
I looked and tried to find a video camera surveillance system that was made in America. It's not easy. It's not easy at all because they all come from China and they all have presumably have some backdoors. But here's the thing: when you talk about this particular group and what they did potentially did to India, right? That's just what's being reported by a firm that did their own research. Imagine how much is actually going on. Imagine how much of even our own infrastructure and even some of the things that we know about, right, that have happened or are happening or have happened and no one even knows about, that's in control of those hackers. Our infrastructure and any other country's infrastructure right now.
Can you remind the viewers of what we showed them in the factual what we showed them with the reports that went to the DOE, Department of Energy.
Right. That DOE report went through, and it said there was the report had only shown one instance of a cyber hack, and that was all they had reported. But there had been like hundreds and hundreds of them. So, and the numbers were, from what they were reporting publicly versus what was really happening, was significantly different.
And by significantly different would be like SpaceX calling their module exploding into bits a slight anomaly. A significantly different is over 500 attacks onto our grid and onto our things. And this is they had them, separated by category, from somebody driving into it, from somebody taking a pew pew, to the fence of it, to somebody throwing something over the fence, to somebody, lighting something off there, to somebody flying over it with a drone. Over 500 in the last 7 or 8 years. And guess how many was reported? And when it was reported, as of when we covered that story last year, 1. So basically, it was getting reported to the Department of Energy, but it wasn't going through, and it was NERC. It was the NERC report, which anybody can access. In fact, Dex, I don't know if it's easy, if we can attach that, because I think people should see that. If we can attach that to our website, so we can back up what we're saying here. It will show you exactly what we're talking about. And that would be the most likely out of all the scenarios that we would be, we would have a huge event happen. It would be that way. Look at Venezuela. Look at all these other countries that are going through these things and even going through government changes. And it just so happens that power is really tied into that. If we get knocked out, it could be because of the replacement of some of the parts that aren't made in the United States. If the United States goes down, they say 9 months to 2 years, because if they knock out certain places, they only have to knock out 9 locations. This was what was found when they sifted through this. They go, holy crap! 9 locations in the whole country are all you would have to hit to knock out our entire grid and, on a permanent basis. And then solar winds, which you may have heard of, is the hack that has been being talked about for 6 months now. Basically, it's the biggest backdoor they ever found. Somebody was hacking in through an actual protection software to all 5 military branches, the Pentagon, every company you can think of that's Fortune 500 that has your information, that has your credit card on file that you order from online. All of those companies had a backdoor into them. And this party, which we still don't know exactly who it is, and they're pointing it towards the big bear over there. We don't know who that is. My opinion is that it's over there. We still don't know the full effects of that. They actually accessed Black Start. So I can't push it in there more. There is no "I told you so" when this happens, because there won't be me on YouTube. There's not going to be anybody on YouTube. It says the discovery raises the question whether an outage that struck on October 13th in Mumbai, one of the country's busiest business hubs, was meant as a message from Beijing about what might happen if India pushed its border claims too vigorously. Now, does that sound familiar? Like that was their calling card? Like, hey, we can shut down that. It kind of sounds a lot like Broadway. I don't know if you thought about that, Dex. But do you remember when the busiest kind of hub of New York went out and they said it was because of a fire underground? Well, let's see here. This was about a year and a half ago. And it just so happened that it lined up with I believe, one of our sanctions. And, oh my gosh, and it was the anniversary of the blackout that they had years before. July 13th. I believe this is it. Dex, and back me up on this. Do you remember it was an actual anniversary, and they still said, oh, it was an accidental thing. They never said it was an attack. This is exactly what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah. All of Manhattan, or a big chunk of it, was down, and it was the anniversary of the infamous blackout that they had there.
But that's a coincidence, guys. That is a coincidence. And then, actually, this is a perfect website here. Playbill, it says the following canceled their July 13th evening performances. Aladdin, Hamilton, Harry Potter, all these. This was Broadway. All of Broadway was closed. They sent a message right to the heart of the Big Apple. And to this day, they have not told us that this was on purpose. But it just so happened to line up with the previous blackout, the exact day in this neighborhood, exact day as a big event where riots and businesses closed and never opened. I want you to remember that. There were businesses that were looted and never came back. They didn't have insurance. There was place. It changed New York. If you were there, let us know. If you remember this, press 1. If you don't, press 2. I'll be dancing again soon. Gone Girl, by the way, and then up above said, I have panic attacks, but I still love yous. And, you know, you're not alone. Again, there's some people that, you know, obviously this is really crazy stuff. But we have to get past that, and we have to help each other and honestly get each other past it. Quantum Mimi, thank you for following there. I love your name, Quantum Mimi. And then thank you, Foogle fam, for all the love and prayers. Gone Girl, 777. I am really hoping that you are awesome. I believe we prayed for you when you weren't here, actually. The truth is out there. God is in control. Have faith. Also, Carol Palmer. I just want to say again, we also all... on the side, some of us, we were sending you love because I realized that you recently lost your husband. So I don't know if you're watching the replay right now. I don't see you in chat, but we do appreciate you, and thank you for coming and saying hi the other day. Lots of really, you know, we've had a lot of Foogle family members that, you know, started out as viewers and now are my good friends, like LCJC. She lost her husband last year. It's always really hard when you lose somebody. So I'm praying for you to get better, and I hope that everybody sends out their love and prayers to Carol Palmer and Gone Girl and everyone that's going through everything. Everybody is going through something right now. If you've never, I'm going to show you a video here in a few, but there's actually an artist that did a really good video recently. Now, again, we talk about the problem. Now we need to talk about the solution. You guys know you should be protecting yourself. I hope that people listen. We have an affiliate. Again, here's how important this is. So if you do not want to support us, you do not go through us. You can find other creators. Again, you can find other creators in this niche that you can go and support. That's how much I hope that everybody ends up looking at EMP Shield. You don't have to support us. If you go through us, you will get $50 off per device. This is called an EMP Shield that can protect you against an EMP. But if you do not want to support us and you just want to protect yourself, go ahead and go through without us through another creator and get the same discount. If that's what it takes for you to get prepared, then do it. This is the same company that has not only worked with DOD, DHS, and now is officially on the DEMSO team helping protect that Texas grid and is most likely going to be called about this Texas base. It is a company that actually is still, after their government contracts, after T-Man signed that, after all of that, they are still, at this moment, selling to civilians. So make sure to go check it out. It's marfooglenews.com/EMP. It will protect you against all three phases, E1, E2, and E3. It will ground the signal before it fries your devices, your car, your house. There's different devices for all different ones. Now, I do want to make an announcement real quick. Andrew from EMP Shield, many of you that have ordered have dealt with Andrew. Their whole company is amazing. They even send Christmas videos where the entire company says hi to the Foogle fam. These people are amazing. They're an American veteran-owned company. Andrew did a contest this whole month. Tomorrow, he will be on tomorrow's show. So make sure to tune in. They're going to be reading the winners who get to pick their devices tomorrow. That's, again, marfooglenews.com/EMP if you want to protect your car, your home. Again, they have one for your ham radio. They have one for a motorcycle. They have one for an RV, for solar panels. People don't think about that. So make sure to check it out. Again, tomorrow, the winners will be announced live on the show with Andrew. So some lucky people tomorrow. All right. Shatanga Gang, thank you so much. Me and my bro love you. Can you wish him a happy B-Day? Nick Her, thank you so much. Thanks, Marf. Shatanga Gang, I no problem. Waffle Armchair. Let's see here. Ilea, I missed that comment. You must have been the last one out the other day. You said you tried calling in. Ilea, on the next unidentified, we'll get you in. Again, you've been here for the entire 3 years. You've been here since I started, since I was tiny. Just let me know and we'll get you on. And I know you watch every replay. I hope you do. I'm pretty sure you do, because there's nobody I see more in the comment section than you, and on my Instagram, you support me every which way. So thank you so much. Ilea, very special. Even when we don't see eye to eye, you disagree with me a third of the time, and you're still here. That's what makes you amazing. You are just like me. You don't let somebody's opinion just completely stop you from, being their friend. That's amazing. That's what we need. We all need to be like that. And then we've got the militia says it reserves right to attack U.S. objects in country after the strike in Syria. It says the U.S. claims its jets raided the facility belonging to militants purportedly responsible for the February attacks against American objects in Iraq. And then it says, which claimed one life and left several U.S. citizens injured. Washington insists that the were sponsored by one of the militant groups, Harakat Hezbollah al-Nujuba, has said that it reserves a right to attack us and U.S. installations in the country as a response to Washington's boom of the group's positions in Syria. This, I don't know about you, Dex, but this is less of a concern than some of the bigger stuff. I mean, I don't know why they would project like this and say, like, we're going to do something. What is more concerning to me is the whole fact that the President of the United States basically told us that Soleimani was taken out because they had an event, again, that made 2001 of September look like chicken feed, so that's why. Or at least that's what they told the public. Who knows what the truth is? It's top secret, I'm sure. But they did a simultaneous operation to take out Soleimani and his second-hand man. The first one was successful. The second one was not. Soleimani's second-hand man, who apparently is, in the loop on that plan that makes 2001 of September look like chicken feed, he's still running amok. So think about that. And now we are in the next admin. They are pissed about that. And they're not going to be unpissed. So this, not so much, I don't know what, we see this kind of stuff all the time. I would highly recommend that everybody just keep their head on a swivel. It's a saying as old as it gets. And then we have the world's first space hotel to begin construction in low Earth orbit in 2025. First of all, there's a show, I want to say, maybe it's HBO Max, it might even be Netflix, that talks about the future. It is predictive programming like crazy. It's very creepy because it uses the year 2029, the same year that Apophis was supposed to hit us, or they said might hit us, and then all of a sudden they changed it years later. In fact, I believe they changed it the same year that we started Space Force, Bennu, Hayabusa, all of these different missions started happening. Sunspot Observatory and 6 other observatories magically closed down. But of course, that was related to something else, right? All of that happened. Asgardia, these elites that started a nation, actually did the paperwork to start this nation in space. All of this stuff has gone down recently. And then all of a sudden, all these countries are like, we're going to the moon. We're going to Mars. We need to terraform Mars. We need SpaceX. All the richest people in the world are starting companies like Origin, Blue Origin and SpaceX. And this is what we need to be on. Even though the previous years before that, they were like, we don't need NASA. It's a lot of money. Who needs space anyways? The entire world was like that. Russia was still launching, all these others. Now, space. Everything is about space. Why is everything about space? Oh, and then the DoD came out and said, just last year, right after the Beirut boom, right after that, in fact, just a matter of days, DoD came out and said, by the way, direct energy was not only real, but China and Russia have weaponized space. That is factually provable. You can go back to the DoD actual press conference where Department of Defense basically told us that it's not a fringe thing on the internet. It's real, and everybody has it now. So, and then SpaceX told us, Starlink that you thought was for internet also is for detecting hypersonic speed objects. And by the way, the very first years of Elon Musk even being talked about in contracts, he was the one that everybody was interviewing about asteroid defense. But just a coincidence. And then nobody talks about asteroid defense since, right? But yet, early on, if you remember, they were going to Elon Musk talking about asteroid defense. Now, barely anybody talks about it because they want to shift your attention elsewhere. By the way, did you hear Kim Kardashian and Kanye are divorcing? Too long? Probably. This, of course, is now the news. World's first space hotel to begin construction in low Earth orbit. This is the world we live in. Now, you can deny that it even exists out there, and that's fine. This is the argument that's going to be settled very soon. I'm open for any. I've never been to space, and neither of you, so I think it's kind of just a null and void point for anybody to argue about what shape things are or if the thing's out there. And I think that it's great to have conversations like that and even share facts and knowledge and things like that. But really, if one of or the other of us haven't actually been there, then we really can't say anything yet. This might change people's mind, or it might confirm. Watch 2025 come apart, and then, of course, it's only the elites. If it's only going to be the elites that are going to be doing space travel, then nobody on the lower end of the spectrum will ever believe that they're actually going to space. Not until the daily average person is going to be able to go up to space will that argument be put to sleep. That we've been to the moon, all these different arguments that go on the internet. It says work is due to start on the world's first, quote, space hotel in low Earth orbit in 2025. And it says it will come equipped with restaurants, a cinema, a spa, and rooms for 400 people. Developed by the Orbital Assembly Corporation, or the OAC, the Voyager station. Did they really name it Voyager? No way. Could they? I actually like Voyager, loved this series, but come on, couldn't it be called the Enterprise? could be operational as early as 2027, with the infrastructure built in orbit around the Earth. It says the space station will be a large circle and rotate to generate artificial gravity that will be set at a similar level to the gravity found on the surface of the moon. It says Voyager Station's hotel will include many of the features you might expect from a cruise ship, including themed restaurants, a health spa, and a cinema. It will feature a series of pods attached to the outside of the rotating ring, and some of these pods could be sold to the likes of NASA and ESA for space research. What? How is this even... This is because the private sector is more powerful than governments. I hope that people realize that. Dex, I hope you realize that. Do you realize that private companies are more powerful than the governments? And now they are talking about these private companies putting these things up there. And who's to stop them? Because now the private companies have more money than the actual governments. They have more power than the governments. They can go to space where we can't. We're going to be renting out to our... These rich people are going to be renting out space to the governments.
Yeah, they've proven that, at least in the tech industry, right? As when it comes to power and money and control and monopoly. So, absolutely. This reminds me, what's that movie, Elysium or something, where there's the people living up in the low Earth orbit. But yeah, this is crazy, and they're saying they're going to be starting in just a few years. So it will get us to that point where we can sort of, I guess, prove to ourselves whether or not space is real, or at least low Earth orbit is a real place you can get to as a common person, I guess, like a hotel on vacation. Like I'm going to go, instead of going to Disney World, I'm going to space, right?
Well, there's no alligators. I guess that's kind of a positive. Here's a
You just got to worry about air leaks, right?
Yeah. Here's a picture of what Dex is talking about, the movie where it shows this kind of ring planet type thing. And as you can see, it looks like normal neighborhoods on this giant ring in space. And the reason it's spinning is so it can give you that artificial gravity. And then, of course, on the real Earth, the planet is just destroyed. Speaking of predictive programming, the show, which I want to say... Oh my gosh, what the heck is that called? The show on Netflix talks about this dark time, the Black December, which I thought was weird since we're in the dark winter. Talk about the Black December of 2029 and that nobody really knows what's happened. And in that show, they show scenes, and this is made by France or I want to say it has, you can't tell because it's dubbed, right? It has little flashes of the person, they're putting articles together, trying to figure out what happened 50 years ago, which is 2029 in the future for us. And it shows NK and the U.S. and it says, did NK, access U.S. cyber warfare? Was it this? Was it China? Was it these guys? Nobody knows, but everything went out. It was a massive blackout. And that's what ended the nations as we know it. And then all of these multi-state tribes came up. And that is even the weirdest part. Actually, from the first 3 or 4 episodes, I'm like, this is crazy, right? They talk about us going back to tribes. Is that a possibility? Which is a great question to ask. I'm going to go over and I'm going to see what you guys say. Do you think if everything hit the fan, do you think that tribes would work? Like actual tribes. Do you think that that's the next sensible thing? Press 1 if you do, 2 if you don't. Gone Girl, thank you so much for your support. Kelly2334, Jen, Wisconsin. Cognitive Resonance, thank you for following. It's always nice to have you, and make sure to welcome Cognitive Resonance. And then Michael Preston, thank you for subscribing. Just a quick shout out before we get continued. There was some folks that went over to PayPal after the show for replay. Doug R., thank you so much for your support. Joanna M., thank you both for everything you do and being kind. Joanna M., thank you. Thank you for watching. And then Helen M., thank you as well for your support. Kevin C., I appreciate that. And just know Helen M., you can write something on those as well. Kevin C., thank you so much for your support over on PayPal. Zippy Moons, can't make show tonight, but want to support. Thanks for everything. Hashtag Zippy Moons. Thank you, Zippy Moons. And then Humble Hashmaker, which, even better, donated $17.76. That's pretty awesome. Thank you. Joshua S., that was your message right there. That said it all. And then Joshua S., thank you as well. Thank you for supporting independent. We do not have a multi-channel network. We do not have support other than ourselves. Me and Dex are a duo along with our mods, which without we would be, floating in water with chat this big. Thank you guys. I really do appreciate all of your support. Speaking of which, Rowan, lots of ones, by the way. Iron Fist Dave, if you're seeing what you never thought you would, give it some time. What's coming is intense, says Iron Fist Dave. Love Pug, what's going on? We've got Mighty Tort, D-Love, D-Live, D-Live, D-Love. And then we've got MC, Unite the Clans. Name of show, question mark. Oh. So, can somebody name that show? It shows the three siblings, and then in the beginning, a pilot crashes that is an Atlantean. Oh, and that's even the one tribe that is advanced and has spaceships and still flies and still has weapons and all that. They are called Atlanteans, but really, they were the ones who prepared for power to go out. And later, I think you find out that really they just protected themselves against EMP, had power, and then continued evolving technology-wise while everybody else was knocked back to the Middle Ages. It's a new show, and it is dubbed. It is, I believe, on Netflix or HBO Max. Europa, thank you. Survival Living. You know exactly what I'm talking about then. That's Central Florida Prepper, a.k.a. Survival Living. If you haven't checked out his channel, he's a great YouTuber as well. Tribe is in the name. It's the Tribes of Europa, I'm pretty sure. It is actually a really good it got me hooked. It's not for everyone, though. It's, it's got some adult-themed stuff in it. Montana, Petey. I definitely wouldn't watch it with my kids. Hidden, especially, by the way, all of the kind of end time stuff, like our caller, the 6-year-old that had the premonition, that caller kept her kids away from all of that stuff, but yet kids and people all over the world are having these weird premonitions of the world ending. It's freaking creepy. All right, let's go to our first caller. I'm going to go over to... Let's see here. Again, remember to call in at 224400 Marf. We have open lines. Richard is holding right now. China and the powers that are setting us up or selling us out from Washington. Let's get Richard on, and then I'll also be looking over to make sure that we got everybody over on YouTube. What's going on, Richard?
Oh, just, thinking. But so I kind of wrote down my little story here. So I guess my disclaimer. Maybe I'm crazy. This is just my opinion. All I know is that I don't know. So what I labeled this: so fat cats in the eagle's nest are sailing out to the red dragon. So I guess what I got here is just, when you look at what's been going on for however long, but, like before the 45th got in there, we depleted our defense was depleted. We weren't prepared for the pandemic. We allowed the red dragon to steal our technology. They're trying to take our freedoms, take away our bang bangs. They censor our speech, the first, the second, all 10 of them, our whole Bill of Rights. The educational indoctrination, against capitalism and freedom. They won't address questions about Decision Day in November. They're causing unrest. The current president's ties to the Red Dragon, up is down, they turn, up is down, they turn it around. I was right. No, I'm cute. The false narratives, like it's a giant psyop. And then, they aren't dumb, but I think they're blinded by greed and power. And once they are no longer of use, the sellouts will be the first to go.
Well, we're already seeing that. We're already seeing that some of the politicians that are getting tossed to the side. Newsom, they're saying, get out of here. All these people that kind of towed the line are now just, disposable.
No, for sure. And then, but it was the true nature has been exposed, and powers that be don't want them turning on them. It's like the guy who gets a girl that's cheating on her boyfriend, but then, what makes you think she's not going to cheat on you if that's the nature of how you got it, But so it's like they have an agenda. I don't know. But, and then I was listening to you talk even more, and then you got me, and then, so are they controlled by the puppet masters? Most likely. And then you started talking about the corporations, and then you made me think of Resident Evil, how the Umbrella Corporation just owns everything, and then, but then there's the people who will stand against it, and they are trying to minimize that opposition by taking away freedom, or however you want to look at it. Take out
all dissidents.
Yeah, exactly. Or minimize it as much as they can, and then you got me going on the Resident Evil umbrella, and then I honestly believe a one world federation is inevitable. It's really more of a question of the road we take to get there. Because once we become, and this may be outside of my lifetime, maybe not, I don't know. But once we become a space-faring world, and who knows what else is out there. And we see it on here all the time, all these things we've all been seeing, and we don't know if they're fallen trans-dimensional beings or different beings from the same solar or from the same galaxy or a different galaxy. We don't know. Or I don't anyway, someone might. But, and then, it's like we trade our time for money, and then we give our money to those corporations that are suppressing us. So, it's a screwy loop, and so, and then I heard you talking about solutions, because, we all have problems, but we need the solutions. And so the only thing I could come up with on that was, all we can do is, pursue the truth and listen to our hearts and do the next right thing because we know what's right and wrong.
You know what we can also do, but outside of the show, you guys can talk to other people in person, because
what's that?
You know what I mean? Like, instead of texting or Facebooking them, talk to people in person, speak up, because your digital voice is getting muted. If all 5,000 people in chat right now went out and talked to one person, that would be 10,000 by tomorrow that knew whatever fact that you wanted to get out. Even if they didn't believe, you might put the seed in their head that might turn them into somebody who all of a sudden is awake. That's what I think we need to start doing. Grassroots, like handing out discs like somebody did 15 years ago that turned me into a question asker.
No, that's solid for sure. And I do HVAC for a living. And so I'm in multiple people's houses every day fixing their furnace or their air conditioner or heat pump. And even here, and I'm in Bremerton, which is pretty close to Seattle, but even here in Bremerton, it's like, it baffles me how many people are like, they would make you think it's one way, but it's like completely the other way. It baffles my mind. And you got to be careful. You plant seeds where you can, and it's easier to talk to people, but.
Well, yeah. And don't do it at work, because that'll get you in trouble. But I get it. No, we had our yearly furnace guy come by, and he was telling us all this kind of stuff, like, most of the houses I go to, they don't even care about, me doing this and that. And most people say, take it off, you're sweating away. And he basically, I don't know if you're saying the same thing, but he said he went to all these houses and people were talking about all the same thing. But when you watch the news and watch what's out there, it makes you think like you're the only person thinking what you're thinking. That's not true. Everybody's thinking the same thing. It's just that they're putting out on the big screen that no one is. Everybody's thinking the same way. Most people, at least in a lot of different ways. So, well, thank you for your call. Again, thank you for calling in today, Richard. Is there one more thing you want to say before you go?
Well, so I'll just say we can speculate, but time will weave the future into present, and what's meant to be will be. So, and then just much love for all of you.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Richard. Thank you for calling in. Don't be a stranger. Marf out.
Sure thing.
And then the end is near. Thank you for the lemon over on D Live. Thank you, Kelly2334 and Gone Girl, for your continued support. I really do appreciate it. Land team work together. I love it. Scooby-Doo do right. Thank you. Choose wisely. Choose God. Know the way to paradise, says Gone Girl 777. And then Sandra in Texas. Mike S4S1. Thank you. Kelly2334. Peace and God to all. I will catch the rest on rerun. Kelly, thank you so much for watching those reruns. I don't know if you actually will get a chance. There is even some people that just let them play. I really appreciate all of you guys that do that. Thank you so much. Redheaded Stranger, thank you for gifting Mike again. Or actually, it was the other way around. Thank you, Mike, for gifting out subs. Let's see here. Cynthia Lynn, I appreciate you. And then over on YouTube, what do you guys think? What do you think about the caller there? You think he's right? And if you don't know, we're going to be putting out a kind of a more public list where we make kind of a code for a lot of different words that are fire hot on YouTube. So make sure we'll put that out, and you guys got to check it out. Marfalaka, hi Marf, and Heiny Ho. What's up, Rizar? Blop Jones. He's immense. That's Richard is right, says Able Bodied. Able Bodied, nice to see you. It's really rare you miss a show, and I'm super thankful. I just consider myself blessed with people like you watching. I really do. Thank you. In the YouTube chat, 2.5 thousand right now. Thank you so much for being here. Starless Seattle Hippie Chick, what's going on? Looks like we have Heritage Heart Homestead in the house. Believer 777. The AC is going to be from Turkey. And then Hidden Hope, Rizar says, thank you. Bones, Modern up in the house. I don't know if we've got West Virginia here. We have Lisa, my favorite, one of my favorite mods. Tinfoil Hat. Hey, it's another old OG member there. Fixing to Love Q. Vanessa Doe. Hey, Marf. Hey, Vanessa. Nice to see you as well. Team Angel Getso. I've seen some new names here too. Heart of Texas. Hey, Marf. What's going on? Hippie Chick. Geo Huff. Thumbs up. Thank you. Another new name or newer name. Mirror 504. Gen X Voice. Cricket Lulu. So nice to see all of you guys. Thank you for the support over there. And then Darren Hill. Todd Brown. All Light. Precious Beast. Thank you. Thank you. And thank you for being here. That is awesome. And then we have China charges ahead with a national digital currency. Dex, if you want to chime in on this one, I know that this is up your alley. Feel free to. It says, after joining the lottery through the social media app WeChat, Miss Huang, 28, a business strategist in Shenzhen, received a digital envelope with 200 electronic Chinese yuan, or E-CNY, worth around $30. To spend it, she went to a convenience store near her office and picked out some nuts and yogurt. Then she pulled up a QR code for the digital currency from inside her bank app. which the store scanned for payment. It says the journey of how you pay, it's very similar to that of other Chinese payment apps. Ms. Huang said of the ECNY experience, said that she added that it wasn't quite as smooth. So she's saying that the digital way of paying was actually not as smooth as paying with a credit card or, say, cash. It says China has charged ahead with a bold effort to remake the way that government-backed money works. It says rolling out its own digital currency with different qualities than cash or digital deposits. It says the country's central bank, which began testing ECNY last year in 4 cities, recently expanded those trials to bigger cities such as Beijing and Shanghai, the hugest. And it says that expected those trials to go to government presentations. And it says the effort is one of several of the central banks around the world to try new forms of digital money that can move faster and give the most disadvantaged people access to online financial tools. I want you guys to realize how they said that. Peace and grace to all. I will catch you on the rest on rerun. Thank you, Kelly. I really do appreciate that. Listen to the wording there. It says the effort is one of several by central banks around the world to try new forms of digital money that can move faster and give even the most disadvantaged people, so help these downtrodden people, access to online financial tools. See, they're helping. By tracking every transaction, they're helping these disembodied, just disenfranchised people get out of their cash-only, non-trackable forms of payment, and they're bringing them to the new age. They're giving them a chance to be tracked, and I just find this so sweet. I mean, do you guys really? I mean, really, this is really sweet. China is just. It gets sweeter and sweeter every day there. They care about these people. They care about those transactions. They care about every single one of them. I mean, people. People. They care about their people. Every single one of their people transactions. But Bitcoin was designed to be decentralized so that no company or government could control it. Digital currencies created by central banks give governments more of a financial grip, just grabbing onto them and just ripping into it.
This is exactly the opposite of what the original, most of the original founders of crypto wanted to see happen.
This is the opposite.
Was to have a government. And this is what happened because China kicked out, they kicked Bitcoin out a long time ago, and they kicked out all the ICOs, and a lot of people bailed from China with crypto and went to Hong Kong and other locations over the years. And it's because China didn't, they obviously saw the writing on the wall and said, well, instead of playing in this space, we're going to throw everybody out because we can do that because we're not an open and free, society. We're going to throw you all out, and then we're just going to make our own so that we can have our own grip on exactly every single transaction you make, every dime, every penny, every little thing you spend. And we'll say it's for the common good. It's for the person who's never had access to money because there's never been an ATM in their town. And now they can have, the same digital access that everyone has. So they can trade and barter with one another, or not barter, but trade monetary value with one another, etc. But no, it's really so that they can know every single detail about every single transaction.
But we think that the U.S. and other countries are really behind. There is the Banking for All Act. You need to Google that. You need to go and check it out. They're basically saying they're helping these disenfranchised, disembodied, poor people that are not putting any of their money in the banks. In fact, it's crazy. I did not know 25% of all people in the United States don't ever use a bank. That seems like a really high number. Maybe I'm quoting that wrong. In fact, I almost want to pull up Brian from High Impact Flicks video on that. He actually got knocked after doing that video. And I believe because you get knocked for what you can't really talk about. Connie Easily says, love you, Adam and fam. Thank you, Connie. Thank you for your support. That really is appreciated. Kisa Care, thank you. And what a freaking cute sticker. It's like a little video game guy. And then, of course, we have Vanessa Doe. Says the IMF now wants your internet search history to be included in your credit score. We covered that, and this is exactly what we called. And we called it because military were telling us this 3 years ago, saying that, even mainstream television was telling us. Black Mirror was saying that the future, we will have a social credit score. And if it drops too low, you can't go into a building. And everybody thought that was silly until China actually iterated where if your social credit score goes too low, so if you talk about some conspiracies on the internet, then your social credit score will go down. And guess what? If it goes low enough, you won't be able to buy tickets for a plane or train, which means you cannot use public transportation. So is Black Mirror fiction or is it just future? Again, this is not a movie. This is the future. And it is happening right in front of our eyes. Stormy Weather says, hey, all, ML had to slide in like this. This was Stormy Weather. The earphones are very short. I was going to, like risky business, like, but, yeah. And then Kimberly Clemens, LXL, yes. LOL. She spelled it out in ELOHEL. Wait. EOE. Yes. yes. China equals sweet. Ha! Okay, I just got that. You had to spell it out for me, and that made it worse. Usually it's the opposite. Much love to Adam Dex. Much love to Foogle fam. God bless you all. Sammy Lee, thank you for the Ninja Kine. And Gone Girl. Anyone thinks my butt's a coin, a lot gonna get punched. I bet. You hit him with your motorbike. Your motorbike? What am I, 90? Okay. Financial grip. China's doing it. We're next. Betcha bottom dollar. In fact, dollar has a dollar coin. U.S. government is coming out with a dollar coin. That is the total opposite of what Bitcoin was actually made for. Your next job interview may be with a robot, whether you realize it or not. Scary stuff here. It says, when Emily applied for her dream job, she expected to ace her interview. She knew the company inside and out and had prepared to explain why she would be perfect for the role. When she received an invitation to a video platform that would record her responses to a series of questions, she was slightly thrown. She was applying for a people-facing role and had hoped to be able to build a rapport with the hiring manager. Still, she had hoped that she could still show her personality even in pre-recorded clips. What Emily didn't realize until after the interview was that the third-party company that hosted the video software used facial analysis technology to screen candidates. Her interview would be assessed by an algorithm that used people's facial expressions, intonation, and word choice to evaluate whether Emily was right for the role. So if you squint too much, they'll say, oh, customers don't like that. It makes you look angry. At least that's what my first job told me as a pool boy. Said, you need to wear sunglasses because you look angry. It's sunny, you ass. The use of artificial intelligence, I'm not still mad about it, okay? That's why I mentioned it. The use of artificial intelligence I look stupid in sunglasses, okay? Just leave it alone. I have a tiny head. The use of artificial intelligence has become increasingly widespread. I have weird ears. One is higher than the other, okay? That's the real deal, okay? The use of artificial intelligence has become increasingly widespread in recruitment over the last few years. Candidates are often asked to complete video interviews or online tests without any awareness that an algorithm will be the first assessor of their application. Major companies such as Hilton and Unilever have used AI interview software, and an estimated 83% of U.S. companies use some form of AI in their HR process. We need the cheat code to get in jobs now. Up, down, left, right, hired. HR decision-making was always been based on the prior experience of recruiters and their intuition about a candidate, says Prasanna Tambe, an associate professor of operations, information, and decision at the University of Pennsylvania's Wharton School of Business. Imagine putting that on a plaque. Associate Professor of Operations, Information, Decision at the University of Pennsylvania's Wharton School of Business. Technology has made it easier than ever to apply for jobs, so recruiters have increasingly large stacks of applicants to evaluate, which takes time. Tools that can help recruiters sort through even larger numbers of applicants, make well-informed decisions, and are very well-deformed decisions are very attractive. Okay, so basically these programs that makes it easier are good looking to the companies. They want that. What do you think? Have you ever been on this kind of interview? Comment below. I would love to hear your story about it. Have you done a video interview? Not even just because of CV, but just in general. Have you had an AI interview? If you haven't, and you're in the look for a job, you might just have one in the future. Bodies frozen to wake up in the future, from baseball players to Bitcoin developers. There was a 2013 film. It wasn't Matt Damon, was it? No, it was. Maybe it was Matt Damon. There was another one where he ended up being a clone, and he didn't realize it. And there were this cryostasis. There's all of these movies that are basically coming to life. And this is like real deal. Now people are getting cryogenically frozen. And of course, this has been a thing for a while, but now they say they might actually be able to bring these people back to life or clone them. It says the concepts, and by the way, I don't know. I think out there, if you have enough money, that you have access to some sort of brain download. I'm pretty sure that already exists. I think we've even covered it. Isn't that creepy? It says the concepts of cryonics has allowed a select few people to be able to attempt to, quote, live forever by preserving their body in hopes of being woken up sometime in the future. Cryonics is the process of storing a body or parts of a body in low temperatures, but it's not completely new. Since 2000 BC, ice houses have been used to store foods, and in the 17th century, philosopher Robert Boyle experimented with freezing live animals in a vacuum. It says he successfully discovered that it was possible to freeze their body in an airless space. And it says, but more recently, scientists have sought to challenge death with some hoping to bring eternal life to humans. Cryopreservation preserves cells, tissues, organs, or any biological constructs by cooling to very low temperatures, such as negative 196 Celsius. That is super cold. And they would have to keep this thing running to keep it that cold. It says that what if they lose power? I know that all of these places have like advanced generators and stuff, but it's like you probably paid millions of dollars. One power outage would just totally screw your future. It says the process relies on the belief that sometime in the future, which could be 1,000 years, science would have advanced so far enough to wake up cryopreserved bodies. Those who have decided to take part in the freezing process have done so without risk. The logic being that if they've died anyway, there can't be any harm. This is creepy, and this is real life, and it's even getting to the point where so many people want to do it that it is becoming affordable. So all of these people are going to be cryogenically frozen. At the very least, could be cloned in the future, and I believe that they are checking a box saying, hey, if it becomes available, at least clone me, right? So they will be... in fact, they just cloned that ferret a few weeks ago. The news came out. An exact copy of a ferret that died 30 years ago. This is like Jurassic Park coming to real life. Jurassic Park, where they took, and now they are talking about actually making a woolly mammoth. This is in the movies. Now it is real, or at least it's becoming real. If you want to call in, the number to call is 224-400-MARF. Common law, common sense. We have time for one more call after this, so make sure to get in. Common law, common sense. And then Ilea, thank you for the super chat there. Waffle Armchair, thank you. I don't even know what that is. I think that's from Europe. Thank you. Or no, is that maybe that's Mexican. Thank you so much. Ilea, again, thank you so much. All right, let's get common sense, common law, common sense. You're live on Marfoogle News.
Hey, Mark, how's it going?
How are you doing? Calling from Kansas. This is common law, common sense. And then I'm going to pull up a link. What am I pulling up here?
Yeah, that would be a link to a channel I created on Telegram. I called in a few weeks ago, and I guess some of the content that I shared with you guys actually tripped a couple flags somewhere, so I'll keep it pretty short and sweet. I took your advice and created a channel, and I know there are people out there that really want to hear this stuff, that trip the flag that is associated with a certain letter of the alphabet, I guess.
Oh, yeah, the 17th number.
Yeah.
Yes.
But anyways, it's the channel is basically about the Republic of the United States, and a lot of key things out there that people really don't know that they should know, and where the power lies in America originally. Yeah, I got to keep it, very basic, but
well, how about this? Basically, you want to get people over to this. You need people.
Yeah, I'm not trying to throw myself out there, but I want to get the content out there without hurting you guys.
Well, thank you and much appreciated, and it will. So why don't we do this? Why don't we attach this to our website under your name, and then people will be able to go over and join if they want to talk about what they want to talk about. Telegram won't stop them from doing that, and that's exactly what is happening. So I think it's a great idea, and I encourage you guys
why I'm on
to start.
Telegram.
That's why I encourage you guys to get out there. This is what I'm talking about, the kind of grassroots, but also outside of this, Telegram is great because Telegram is doing, at least it's better than most of these platforms. They are actually letting people talk. So I would highly encourage that if anybody, is into that, to go follow whatever you want to do. And again, make your own decisions. But yeah.
Yeah. And basically the reason I kind of wanted to call back and let people know that I created this channel, Richard called in earlier and you were talking with him, and he hit a lot of the points that I kind of discussed.
Yes, but he
to a
used
certain degree
he used
on my channel.
that code sheet that we send every caller. He actually, but that was the thing. He used every word in that code sheet. He basically took the filtered word and used the equals. That was what we were hoping you would do the first time. So, if you have that sheet in front of you, you feel free to use that. That has all of the translated, words.
See if I can pull it up.
But just a heads up, we have about 2 minutes left.
All right, pulling it up right now. Okay. Yeah, so basically, I guess it's not about, elephants versus donkeys. It's more like the essence of a donkey, the basics, I'm sorry, an elephant, the very basics of an elephant.
Well, maybe, I don't know if this was a kind of off the cuff call, but some of the callers actually write down what they're going to say before they call in, and then it just kind of helps with timing of it.
Yeah, and basically I was just going to use Richard as what Richard discussed as basically what my channel is about, and discussing and giving power back to we the people.
Yeah, no, and I don't think that. I think you're not giving people in the crowd enough credit. So here's what I suggest: we point people to your site, and then you can say whatever you want there. And then I encourage you guys to start your own channels like this, because you guys can talk freely, and it's not. It's that. So again, thank you for calling in this time. Thank you for being careful about that. That video actually. We had disclaimers, so we actually had to edit parts out. We appreciate that you understand that, because we actually are helping a lot of people, believe it or not, outside of the show, and we financially help people as well. If people don't, that's actually out there, that you can publicly find how much we help people. So we do appreciate that people understand why we do things the way we do. And anybody starting a new YouTube channel, feel free to use kind of our guidelines of how to do it, because we didn't do it overnight. We did it with trial and error. And people say, oh, this channel says that and this channel says that. We don't have a multi-channel network talking directly to YouTube saying, hey, they messed up, but we've got 450 clients, so can you fix this for us? We're paying you. Can you fix this? We don't have that. Also, the words are changing on a daily basis, so we have to keep changing things. So I do appreciate your calling, but we're running out of time on the actual show. So is there one more thing you want to say before you go? Under 30 seconds.
Yeah. Basically, the stuff that's too hot to talk about on YouTube, that's the stuff I'm talking about on my channel. If you guys want to go and check it out, much appreciated. If you want to dip in and then dip out, it's all good. And I want to thank you and Dex for giving me the motivation to start the channel.
Well, and again, I think that, we're going to send people your way, and I hope a bunch of people go over there, because Telegram is a great place for people to meet and to speak. All right, well, thank you so much for calling in, and I'm really proud that you started something, and don't ever give up. And if they don't come at first, just keep doing it until they do. All right. We're running out of time on YouTube here. Todd Best, Mockingbird, thank you so much. And thanks, caller. Everybody, thank you, caller. Miss Jammer, thank you so much. I really appreciate when people thanks. It's hard for somebody to be able to do it with all these filters. I understand why it's really hard, because we can't communicate what we're trying to say. So it's really, really hard on everybody. But we have lasted without a multi-channel network, without a team of lawyers. We've lasted this long. Well, a lot of people have not. So if you want to join his group, that is up to you. It is fully your decision. Again, just remember that it is your decision to do so. We always want to help people communicate and connect with each other. If you want to support us in a different way and protect yourself, don't be dumb. Get a virtual private network. If you're on the computer or even devices, if your kids are on the computer, you can just pay one fee to have 6 devices covered and have a virtual private network. Basically, put yourself somewhere else. It will put your IP address somewhere else. Your IP address basically is your address. So if somebody has your IP address, they can find where you live, all that kind of good stuff. But not only that, they can use that to hack into your computer, take your identity, all sorts of bad stuff. So use the special savings Marfoogle just straight up. It helps us commission-wise, and it gives you a huge discount up to 70% off on a 3-year plan. It helps us grow. We are trying desperately to bring on more people. We are not there yet. We've had multiple times where we've gone backwards. So thank you for everybody that has continued to support regardless of what's going on. We've had many, many downsides, many downs. We need some ups. All right. Yabba Dabba, what is going on? That has nothing to do with the show, but it cracked me up. Okay, love not hate Kit Kat. I love it. Again, I think that you guys need to talk with each other. You need to join each other's groups. You need to do all that stuff. All right, Dex. Let's see here. We've got Carrie S. Dex, if you want to get Carrie S, I'll load up the...
Hi.
Hi. Buying a building under the guise of a homeless shelter, but probably for FEMA. What is up with this? Carrie S, first-time caller.
Hi, Marv. Yeah, I live in Jackson County, and I have a therapist that I've been talking to, and long story short, she is kind of into the stuff we talk about here on Marfoogle News, and she was asked to head up a trauma-based center shelter, and she said she really couldn't talk about the details, but it would be huge, and it's kept under hush-hush because of the fear of the public freaking out. But all of a sudden, the article came out. United Way in the city of Jackson hope to turn a Bible Institute into a 300-bed homeless shelter with in-house services, which happens to be right, I believe, next to our main hospital. And I just got a feeling because she trained and stuff, and I don't know, it just, because she told me it would be for in the event of natural disasters or stuff like that. So I'm thinking probably it's a camp.
Now, okay, so what you're saying is, under the guise of saying, hey, it's this homeless shelter, there may be actually building these things in preparement for something bigger in the future.
I do believe that. Yeah, she was trained in disease. She actually headed the hospital overseeing the nurses at our main hospital when the thing I'm not supposed to talk about hit us last year. And yeah, so she's pretty knowledgeable when it comes to trauma training.
So is this, you said she's into this kind of, research as well. Does she believe this? And I almost wonder if she would, confidentially and anonymously. I wonder if she would even talk to us about what she thinks. Do you think she would, or do you think that would be too weird?
I don't know, but it would be really cool if she would. I could always ask her.
I don't think there. See, between you and her, there's a patient doctor confidentiality. In fact, what's so funny is my sister. Her therapist watches the show, and my sister like gushes over her. She says she's the most amazing woman. She's helped her a ton, and but it's like you never know. You never know. I think my sister was surprised because she is totally off in another place, doesn't watch much, and didn't really think like there's all these respectable. We have Congress that have watched our show. We have governors that watch our show. We have all these weird people, and people don't think that these normal people are talking about this. This isn't theories, right? This is what real people are thinking about.
Right.
Do you get what I'm saying? Like, it's respectable positions are thinking about this stuff. Respectable positions are talking about this.
Yeah, she's been training for several years. She's amazing. She actually went and participating in the courses that you were talking about, that people are training for like a disease or a natural disaster. She's been in those. Well qualified. Let's put it that way. And it just amazes me that she even brought it up, to be honest.
Now, I'm going to ask you one more question before we go. Is this in
okay.
Is this in Kansas, or I'm sorry, is this is in Michigan, or is it in a different state?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm Bones' kind of neighbor.
Oh, awesome. That's awesome.
We live in the same place.
Well, spread it to all the neighbors. That's awesome. Well, can you find out more? Can we talk?
Nice to talk to you.
Well, Carrie, yes. Can we?
Calling in.
Can you ask, and maybe we'll touch base again, and maybe we even if we can talk to her off camera or something. But either way, even if she doesn't want to, I don't know if she watches the show. Probably not. But just just let her know that it would be confidential.
Busy lady.
Well, yeah, and then she probably is. But we can work around that. But, well, thank you for the heads up. That's quite creepy. And if you weren't totally filled in, she believes that they're making some sort of big, huge, giant building under the guise of it saying it's a homeless shelter when really it's something else for the future that might contain people. Yeah,
they haven't bought the building yet, but they are going to make a big down payment. It says once they get the grant funding. Yeah. So, and she says this has been in the works for well over a year. She told me that this is because she kind of slipped and told me, well, Jackson's already got a plan for a big center. And I was like, what? Whoa, wait, back up. And that's what got us talking about it.
A mega shelter. That's creepy. Well, thank you so much for calling. And Carrie, yes, it's your first time call. I sure hope it's not your last. And check in again. Even if they just...
Love the Sam. Love you guys. Thank you.
Oh, well, Carrie, yes, I thank you so much for watching. And you are truly appreciated. And thank you so much for being with us. And thanks for being a part of the Marfia. And thanks for being part of the Fugel family, right?
All right. Thanks, Mark. Take it easy.
All right. God bless you. I think I just saw something incredible. Sandra in Texas just did the highest amount of respect paid on Ninjagini. She just did a Ninjet. Sandra in Texas, because you are prolific Fugel fam, I don't even think that's your first. So we're creating this thing. And I actually got an inspiration from another D-Liver called Alpha. Well, actually, Sponge. From Sponge. Oh my gosh, why am I blanking? He was Alpha, changed his name back and forth. He does these panels of artwork with every donator of certain levels. And for Ninjets, we're going to do a special one because the people that have done Ninjets are, obviously people that have gone above and beyond to help support us. They believe in what we're doing. They believe in our cause. So thank you, Sandra in Texas. That is super appreciated. Gone Girl is one of them. Amy R is one of them. We have several, and we want to do something special for those who have done that. So we are still working on a project to do so. And there'll probably be a couple names on there of people that have gone above and beyond in other ways too, like JStone78, thousands of hours put into, helping the Foogle fam in every which way. There's a lot of people in that same boat too. So thank you guys, everybody that has helped support, that has helped volunteer, helped everything. Buddy Lee 03, thank you. Empress 40. Gone Girl 777 says, need a singer or lyric writer or comedian. Hi. And then Gone Girl, thank you so much for, it says jet flew in, jet, it landed. Thank you, Gone Girl. Again, then Vango 54. And, well, thank you, Gone Girl. I really appreciate that. Carol Palmer, sorry I haven't been around. That was a Shoot Mike XRP Endgame. Look up ISO 20022. XRP Endgame. Look up ISO 20022. I will. Thank you, Shook Mike, and I will try to if it's something worth value, or I'm sure it is, I'll try to share it on the show if I can. Vanessa Doe, the IMF now wants your internet search. I got that. Connie Easley, love you, Adam and Dex. Kaisa Care, thank you so much. To everybody that has called in tonight. Looks like Eric A. or Erica, spelled with an A. I've never seen that. Went over to PayPal during the live show. Thank you so much for your support. You are appreciated. And again, thank you. That does take the least. We are trying to build a platform right now, so your help is incredibly appreciated. Okay. Dex.
Yeah, great show. The common law guy who called in, that he came in completely prepared to talk and didn't realize what had happened the last time he had called in. So he was not ready. When I told him what happened, he's like, "Oh," I'm like, "Yeah, you can't go anywhere near this." And he was like, "Okay." So his stuff, like, if you guys want to see it, it'll be on the website.
Oh, he's got some great stuff. That's the thing.
Yeah, we just can't cover it.
Last time it was
got flagged immediately.
It was 42 times over flagged. Yeah. So, yeah. I think you guys
go check them out.
Go make sure to give them a chance. I'm sure with the Telegram thing, you can probably talk, text, all sorts of cool stuff. You can put some stuff there. We'll put the link on our website, marfooglenews.com. Obviously, right now, we have lost a lot of comrades in this area of the corners of the internet. So, a moment of silence for our fallen friends. But again, we got to keep rolling, keep adjusting, keep adapting, keep evolving. Dex, thank you, my internet brother.
You got like 12 left on YouTube.
All right, thank you.
And thank you, man. Great show.
In a world where Dex is Marv's mother. Is this the end of the show? No, it's not. It is officially time for the shoutro. It's not an outro. It's not a shout out. It's a shoutro. I pray to you, please, will you go love all of them above? Everyone loves, everyone hates, everyone goes and stays. Everybody wanna be a wobble armchair and a shot tango over there. Ilea and a micropression. That's a dog got a question. Gonna easily, oh please be everything that you said you would be. Everybody knows the Ilea and the Seraphina. Gotta go down and eat a dinner. Bring it down now, no sinner. Bring it down, I just wanna be a winner. Somebody special on that jump gun. Gotta see the end, then I'll go on the win. I shut down on the streets, I go bring a heat. I gotta go down, this is on my knees. Crypto Craig and a Susan Big and a groovy grandma and everybody big. A groove Magana, I got to go to Ganda. I bring an island by the sea and now they got the honor. Michelle Jerry, it is the mark. I gotta bring it down now. And I throw the dart at Domingo VD4 and Sandra and Texas. Thank you for all of the love. Tina on the muscle, rock on for life. Bring it down and we keep it so tight. Marf on the watcher, on a two. Love the island by the sea and I belong to Anna. With the Cindy on the leg. Go down around with Alicia or Paul. Bring out the AM and now turn on radio FM. Joe at the house, CD on the shoe, Michael Jerome and I love you. Dex on the jet, bring it on yes, open it up and you open again. Gotta love all of my friends. I'll bring you down, we all in the end. Robin on a spiker, yes I like ya. Do it down now and I go for a hiker. We do crypto play, do it on the leg. One leg that is it, the team ram draw. Do it every now and then. Got the rockin' life with the mean and the team. And nobody's done with the John will be the kill Murray and the big yellow. Louisa Sky going away. Deborah Collins and no hidden how high. I see the way, I said the lie, no and never, gotta get my guy up on above, I praise from home, down here I'm a no one. Bring it on the back, no come back down, I see the top and now she take it and got the sound, a wobble I'm here and the idea now. A Seraphina and a Teresa on a beat down. I bring it down from the sheet down. From the Washington, going back and gone. Do it every day, now they grab on a gun. Do it every day like it all in the last one. If you want to support the broadcast, head over to Patreon last. Open list, go and go share. Go and subscribe for the work we've done. they're missing on the blue on 1,000 years now. I've got the Carol Palmer, Teresa Ranch, do it every day now. I got it low, bring it on the low. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, I'm gonna like do it early on the day and on the praise God, do it with the SEBGE. Got the microphone, everybody really want the flow. JP and NRC, A Cooper and the rest are free. No, it's all gonna leave. Everyone see. Caddy, I love ya. What is going on, Caddy Payana? Yeah, we are, man. I got the I love Vigos. Hopefully this doesn't get marked for being too stereotypical. Okay, now, Vengo 54, thank you. Island by the Sea, Lord Andrew. JP